Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well and taking it easy. I just wanted to update you on a bunch of things regarding PIP and what the DWP are planning on doing over the next pretty much course of a year, and how that will affect anybody that is either applying for PIP or having a renewal or going to just carrying on with their PIP as normal. So PIP's personal independence payment, if you didn't realise, and it's based on how a disability affects you on a day-to-day basis. So with that, I'll just get straight into some of the new things that are happening from next year. I've got some of the new rates up on my screen behind here. So if I look up that direction, that's what I'm reading out, because some of them, there's too much to remember just off the top of my head. So there are some rate increases over next April for the new tax year to look forward to. I say look forward to. They're not a great amount. Like daily living a component for a standard rate is an extra £1.50 a week. The enhanced rate is an extra £2.20 a week. Mobility standard is an extra 60p a week, and the enhanced is an extra £1.55 a week. So you could see it's not a great amount, but the percentage increase on those are kind of around a small amount as well. So, it's in line with inflation, and, they're small amounts. So, regardless of what you get with inflation, it's always going to be a small, like, monetary amount. So they're going to affect in April of next year. So if you want to have a look at your own PIP dates when you get paid and things like that, it's usually like the first week or the first payment after the tax year, which is like 5th or 6th of April next year. So also alongside that next year, there's something that is happening sort of behind the scenes, which is some may see it positive, some may see it negative. There's kind of arguments for both, I think. And that's an independent review by the MP Stephen Timms, or Sir Stephen Timms, as it were. And what they are doing, or what his team are going to be doing, is putting together a better review of how PIP is calculated, what criteria it's based on, things like that. So I'll just read out some of the key areas that are under the review. So mental health assessment criteria. There's been a lot of press around mental health and whether or not it should, or what parts of it should or shouldn't be included under PIP. And they're basically, I'll read this out, they're examining whether current assessment criteria adequately captures the impact of mental health conditions, including fluctuating conditions and good versus bad days, hidden impacts like anxiety, panic attacks, and executive function difficulties, social interaction and engagement challenges, and whether assessors properly understand mental health conditions. So those four things, they're great that they're being reviewed. Whether they'll then say yes to those and they'll include them, like that, for example, whether assessors properly understand mental health conditions. Right now, there's a lot of people that I see over social media that have a person that assesses them that doesn't, or they report to say that they don't have any understanding of what that person has been diagnosed with and how it affects them. So it's a difficult position from that. So whether or not those assessors will then become, I guess, more experienced and qualified in that area remains to be seen. Okay, the second uh, area under review is the assessment process itself and where they can make improvements. So I'll read those out. They want to make it more claimant friendly. Yeah. Better training for assessors on diverse conditions, reducing stress and anxiety during face-to-face assessments, improving use of evidence from healthcare professionals, video and telephone assessment quality standards. So I think it's just making sure that it's not just a tick box exercise, and it's kind of getting to grips with making it less of an anxious and stressful procedure, which for different people, for different reasons, it can be, it can be worse for some, it can be easier for others, and it just all depends on the person you get, the time you get it, what your, you know, condition is, all sorts of different sort of variables, as it were. So the third area under consideration is the point system modernisation. So from what I've seen, the 4-point rule that the government were trying to bring in this year, that's swept by the way. They don't want to bring that in, which is great because that was ridiculous. So they want to examine whether the current point system needs updating. Simple as that. And I'll read it out again. Are the descriptors still relevant post-pandemic? Should technology aids be considered differently? How to better assess progressive conditions? Balancing standardization with individual circumstances. So what I would like to see is the progressive condition. So one of the conditions that I have is ankylosing spondylitis, and that's never gonna like get better. It won't. You can't reverse the fact that you've got damage, for example, and it's a progressive disease. It's as simple as that. There's no cure, so it's one of those things. Unless medication suddenly, changes, or they find a cure for it, or what have you, like assessing that progressive nature of this sort of disease is certainly a good thing. So in terms of looking at things, how they're going to look things over a period of time, they are the Stephen Timms report should be going through the government relatively soon, probably early next year, and we probably won't see any new information on that until probably late summer. And then when they have like an autumn budget kind of thing, they'll probably announce it then, if there are any changes to take effect, probably the next tax year, so probably 2027. That's a guess, right? Okay, so that's kind of good. So currently, obviously, it remains as it is, unfortunately. Your the point system, you've got to get over 8 points overall to get the standard rate, and above 12 to get the enhanced rate. So that's kind of solid in terms of as it stands. In terms of what they want to do in like with like as far as advances in technology and things like that go, they want to make digital and process improvements. So I'll read some of those on regarding the online claim portal enhancements. So they want to improve that kind of online feature. So plan features are save and resume, so you can start a form, then come back to it later, which is this, we're 2025 and they haven't got that, is absolutely crazy. Okay, document uploading, and you can just do a portal, which makes sense. Again, progress tracking, so you can have a look at real time in your claim status. Appointment booking, schedule your own assessment time slots, and accessibility improvements, enhanced screen reader support, and simplified language. So people who, sort of, I guess, partially sighted or what have you. So all these things are looking at helping everyone, really, not just the user and the person making the claim, but the assessors as well. If it's partially automated in the early stages before it gets to the actual assessment part of things, it's going to make life a lot easier. Plus, if there are things like you can see your online claim status, just kind of in terms of the progress itself, whether that's a progress bar going across saying you're 3/4 of the way through your claim and you should expect to hear by this date or whatever, it means you won't be ringing up and hassling them. They can then save money, I guess. That's the long and short of it. Use technology to save money. That's, it makes sense in this day and age. I know like the DWP, the government, are quite far behind in terms of using technology to their full advantage. In terms of communication improvements, DWP have committed to, and I'll read these out, clearer decision letters, so in a better explanation of why decisions were made, faster processing, target to reduce average claim times, better mandatory reconsideration explanations, so more detailed reasoning when decisions are upheld or changed, and SMS updates, so you can get your updates via text message, which I think they partially do anyway. And they've got two. The assessments will be carried out in 2026 by two companies, Capita, doing most of England, Wales and Scotland, and an independent assessment services in other regions. So, yeah, basically they just want to be improving on a lot of areas, and I think they will be positive from a claimant perspective. I think when the report actually comes out, depending on how they have looked at the previous kind of years of, I wouldn't say failure or anything like that. What I would say is challenges, I guess. With time, there's been a massive backlog of things. And bearing in mind, like PIP's only been around since, like, I don't know, about 15 years or something like that. It's not a long time. To have this amount of backdated claimants and, people struggling to get their decisions made is, frankly, quite, it's not a disgrace, but it's not ideal. But it is what it is. So it's good that now they're taking the time to actually look at these areas, and hopefully, fingers crossed, where they can be, that this is a very positive thing, and we only have, I don't know, several months to find out exactly what it entails. We'll see whether they address the what they call, or what they describe, the low-level anxiety media issue that's been ongoing for the past few months, whether they are going to start to take that seriously, but we'll see from there. So that's kind of it, really. I just wanted to make I know it's been a bit of a long video, but I just kind of want to put that one out there, and yeah, because there's a lot of information there. But in the meantime, have a good one, and I'll see you on the next video.